Good morning, Mr. L. Thank you for being here today. I will be presenting on my topic, which is language barriers among orang Asli peoples in English learning through cultural and ethical perspective. Before we begin, I'd like to share the experience that I had with my peoples. They are very bright and resilient. But in English lessons, the language is almost an EFL to them, where no one speaks or use the language in their immediate family or community. Every sign, every conversation, and every book are unfamiliar. And imagine being assessed in the language without proper support and guidance. And while doing that, also struggling with basic literacy in the second language, which is Bahasa Melayu. So this is the reality for many orang asli, particularly at SK Bukit Tadung, where most students come from Temuan ethnic. Okay, so my presentation goals throughout this presentation, I will cover the barriers orang asli students face in learning English, the assessment issues, and why current methods seems fail them. Um, the third issue is ethical considerations in evaluating these students. And fourth is solutions and strategies to promote fair, culturally inclusive assessment. And my goal is to rethink how I can assess and support orang asli peoples so that they are not left behind. Moving on to the background and context. Who are the orang asli? Before discussing language barriers, let's understand the cultural and socio-economic background of orang asli students. The orang asli Temuan community primarily speaks their own dialect at home, and they come from B40 households, meaning low income families with limited educational opportunities. Many face low literacy rates, even in Bahasa as their second language, L2. Their exposure to English is minimal, often limited to formal school settings. So, this background plays a crucial role in their language acquisition journey, and it matters because language proficiency is a key factor in academic success. If the students struggle with Bahasa, their L2, they will struggle even more with English. Additionally, this issue ties into Malaysia's Sustainable Development Goals (SDG), which emphasize inclusive education. And if we don't address this challenge, we risk widening educational inequality. Now, let's break down the four main challenge orang asli students face when learning English to identify the language barriers at my school. Number one, English is their third language, L3. To quote research by Angelovska and Han, 2018, they highlights that L2 proficiency is crucial for L3 acquisition since many orang asli people struggle with BM, their ability to learn English is significantly hindered. Number two, late exposure to English. Unlike urban children, exposed to English through TV, books, and daily interactions, orang asli children only encounter English formally in school. This means they start at a disadvantage, often falling behind from the beginning. Um, and number three, no support system at home. Many parents are not fluent in BM or English, making it difficult to help with homework. Without reinforcement at home, learning English becomes isolated to the classroom. And there are also curriculum misalignment, where the national syllabus assumes prior BM and English knowledge, putting orang asli students at a double disadvantage. And where classroom instruction lacks bilingual support, it's making difficult for students to follow lesson. How we expect a student to learn English if they are already struggling with bahasa. That's the key question that we must address. Number two, late exposure to English. Unlike urban children, exposed to English through TV, books, and daily interactions, whereas children only encounter English formally in school. This means they start at a disadvantage, often falling behind from the beginning. And number three, no support system at home. Many parents are not fluent in BM or English, making it difficult to help with homework. Without reinforcement at home, learning English becomes isolated to the classroom. And there are also curriculum misalignment, where the national syllabus assumes prior BM and English knowledge, putting orang asli students at a double disadvantage. And where classroom instruction lacks bilingual support, it's making difficult for students to follow lesson. How we expect a student to learn English if they are already struggling with bahasa. That's the key question that we must address. Look at the assessment issues. We are moving to the problems with current assessment. Let's examine how current assessment methods fail orang asli students. Okay, so there is summative assessment, which is UASA. UASA is a summative assessment because it is towards the end of the semester. This assessment is for tahap 2. Okay, so the root cause analysis of this issue is the systemic issues. National education policies favor mainstream learning models, neglecting marginalized groups, and teachers often lack training in cultural inclusivity, further alienating orang asli student. This results in unfair assessment where students fail not because they lack knowledge but because they lack English proficiency. And moving on to ethical considerations in assessment, let's discuss the ethical responsibility of educators in ensuring fair assessment. Number one is fairness in testing. We testing English skills or just English proficiency. The fairness in testing is to ensure assessment truly measure knowledge. And number two, assessment should use familiar context. Instead of asking, write about your ambition to be a doctor, we can ask, how does hunting with a blowgun teach survival skills? This make assessment more engaging and relevant. And also the teacher's moral responsibility. Some misconceptions exist that orang asli students are not intelligent or lazy. This is what my personally what I saw. They are lack of intelligence, but honestly they are not, because they are very healthy. They their lifestyles is natural and organic, so it's not intelligent and it's not lazy. It's false. And research shows their struggles are systemic, not personal failings. And as educator, it is my duty to challenge these stereotypes and adapt with the right teaching methods. Moving on to the solutions, what I would like to propose for inclusive assessment so that a fairer assessment can be created, and we have to redesign evaluation methods. For examples, we should allow bilingual and oral assessments for the native for orang asli. Allow students to answer in BM first, then they can translate. Although the medium instructions for the teacher is in English, but the student are allowed to speak in Malay. This is scaffolding activities where they can use bahasa when creating emails. So this is the examples of the activity that we have in class. This is also peer assessment and scaffolding.
Good job, Bella.
Yeah, so we don't want to encourage, we don't want to discourage them by not allowing
Good
them
job, Bella.
to speak Malay. So we let them we let them
Good job,
speak
Bella.
Malay. And oral assessment, oral exam to accommodate students with weaker writing skills. This is also one of the oral assessment. Um, we read to them about topic like this one is articles, and then we ask questions to assess whether they recall what are the topics that uh, we've been presenting to them. So the question is just from the examples that were given from the brief notes. And this is under panitia activities for all people's year 1 to year 6. But yeah, due to illiteracy, they can't read. But we try to emphasize on speaking and listening skills due to the lack of proficiency, illiteracy. They have low self-esteem in front of their friends, and yeah, so the usually the one who's answering is usually Malay students. We do have Malay students, but they are usually either the teachers' children or the supporting. And this is the oral assessment where students were assessed whether they can read simple sentence of and repeat and repeat the sentence or phrase, and they work this in team as a team, and they get reward after the game. This is Chinese whispers game.
Follow.
contextual learning. Uh, we use familiar themes such as traditional survival skills, cultural stories, folklores, and nature-based scenarios in test questions. This is the cultural example, and also um, using storytelling as a fun way for students to take part in the lesson, so they can bring their traditional costume and they take part in storytelling where they where they tell a story about Harry Potter, and the story is actually relatable with magic, as orang Asli believe in animism, which is magic and natural force. Number three, parental and community involvement. We engage parents in bilingual learning activities at home, and we also assign them hands-on through WhatsApp group, and we update about the their children homework, what they need to do, what materials that their children needs, such as dictionary. And also we need to advocacy, push for culturally inclusive teacher training and policy reforms that support orang asli learners. And this is example when the community involved with the Carnival Pendidikan Murid Orang Asli. So our school is the runner-up for news news reading competition, and our our students, parents, they are very hands-on, and they support uh, their daughter in uh, extracurricular activities. Um, she won national for storytelling. So last year she is the runner-up for news reading. This is the activity for high immersive program under the schools. This is a collaborative efforts amongst all the teachers and supporting staff. We take turns every week. So to simplify, we just follow the assigned teacher for the week. So the teacher will have the students to write a word, the meaning of the word, and the examples of the word, how used in a sentence. And we involve year 6 to year 1, 5 days a week. Um, yes. So we get uh, level 4 for this effort. And this year we are planning to do idioms. So we're going to start doing it uh, next week by Wednesday. Okay, and strategies for long term improvement. We need to reform the in designing the assessment. It has been repeated before. Incorporate familiar, localized context into test questions by relating them to orang asli survival skills and traditional tools such as hunting with a blowgun, especially when discussing topics like ambition and future aspirations. And they also can be an advocate for their community because we actually don't know what they need unless the leaders, their leaders, speak to us. And teacher training, equip teachers with strategy for culturally inclusive assessment. And lastly, for the conclusion, I can conclude that assessment must reflect students' realities. Teachers need better training. Policymakers must consider cultural diversity in education. A fairer system will empower orang asli students, give them a real chance at success. Thank you.